Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of the Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. today's Bhagavatam class. Will be covering from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse 11. And the chapter is entitled How Dhritarashtra Quits Home. And we're happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj.
Haribol and Suya, my obeisances, all glories to Prabhupada. My obeisances to all the devotees. Panchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva chatitaram pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaho namaha. How's the audio from my side?
The audio is good, Maharaj. So far, it's clear and it's definitely audible.
Is it loud enough also?
It's loud. If I increase it on my end, yeah.
I can also increase that on my end. So if it
Okay,
needs,
Maharaj.
if it needs be, should I do that?
I think so, just in case someone comes in the middle and says that they can't hear. Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
How's that?
Perfect. Now it's very clear and loud. Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Apinas Srudas Tatam Bandava Krishna Devataha. Drista Sruta Vayadavas Vapuryam Sukam Asate. Yeah. Okay. My uncle, so they're referring to Vidura, you must have visited Dwarka. In that holy place are our friends and well-wishers, the descendants of Yadu. We're always wrapped in service of the Lord Sri Krishna. You might have seen them or heard about them. Are they living happily in their abodes? The particular word Krishna Devataha, that is, those who are always wrapped in the service of Lord Krishna, is significant. The Yadavas and the Pandavas, who are always wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna and his different transcendental activities, were all pure devotees of the Lord like Vidura. Vidura left home in order to devote himself completely to the service of the Lord. But the Pandavas and the Yadavas were always wrapped in thoughts of Lord Krishna. Thus, there is no difference in their pure devotional qualities, either remaining at home or leaving home. The real qualification of a pure devotee is to become wrapped in thought of Krishna favorably, that is, knowing well that Lord Krishna is the absolute personality of Godhead. Kamsa, Jarasandha, Shishupal, and other demons like them were also wrapped in thoughts of Lord Krishna, but they were absorbed in a different way, namely unfavorably, or thinking him to be a powerful man only. Therefore, Kamsa and Shishupal are not on the same level as pure devotees like Vidur, the Pandavas, and the Yadavas. Maharaj Yudhisthira was also wrapped in thoughts of Lord Krishna and his associates at Dwarka. Otherwise, he could not have asked all about them from Vidura. Maharaj Yudhisthira was therefore on the same level of devotion as Vidura, although engaged in the state affairs of the kingdom of the world. Om Gyan Timirandasya Inajana Salakaya Chaksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shri Makti Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya De Satarine Vanchakalpa Tirubhyaschakri Kripa Sindhu Peva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the word Krishna Devata is a very important word, as it says here, one who is always wrapped in the service of Krishna. Wrapped means absorbed, fully conscious of Krishna at all times. So here it indicates that it doesn't really make a difference about what position you hold in the world or even what activity you may be performing. The idea is to be around the thoughts of Krishna. And here we use the example is being used that Vidura was such a person, and Yudhisthira was on the same level, although they were in different roles in the world. One was a king, and the other one, were at this particular time in his life, was just a wandering mendicant who had returned to the palace to perform a particular mission that was to enlighten his materially absorbed brother into understanding his precarious and mistaken position, to break him out of that and get him into the process of self-realization. So although both were performing different activities, both are considered Krishna Devata. So this is the ultimate principle of bhakti, and we use the word ultimate, is that the goal of bhakti is to become absorbed in thinking of Krishna in a favorable way, and not in an unfavorable way. And good examples here mention certain demons, Kamsa, Jarasandha, Shishupal, also Pandraka, he was also another one. They were always thinking of Krishna, but in an unfavorable way. So that is not bhakti. They will get them liberation, because thinking of Krishna is beneficial even for the non-devotees, or even the demons, because it gets them a stage of liberation. Sahuja Mukti, they merge into the Lord, and they merge into the bodily effulgence of the Lord. But they don't get bhakti, which is the actual position where the soul finds complete satisfaction. Even in the stage of liberation, the soul is not completely satisfied, although it's free from a lot of it's free from all the miseries of the material energy. But because it's not absorbed in Krishna or engaged in Krishna service, which helps one to become absorbed in Krishna, then they are still lacking in that position of complete satisfaction and happiness. And here, what does it mean to be wrapped in the service of the Lord? That wrapped means, really, it requires some explanation. Wrapped means body, mind, and words. Just like sometimes we're doing our service, but we're thinking about something else while we're doing it, or we're in other words, the mind is not there. Although the body may be acting, the mind is not there. Or one may be doing their service and speaking to someone about something else while they're doing their service. That means they're not wrapped in the service of the Lord. But if one is absorbed in the service, body, mind, and words, then they are wrapped. Even if they're not thinking of Krishna personally, if they're absorbed in the service, body, mind, and words, then that is considered Krishna Devata, or absorbed or wrapped in service. So that's the goal, because the soul by nature cannot forget Krishna even for any fraction of any time calculation. The soul is constantly absorbed in Krishna, always. You can't use even the word 24/7, it doesn't apply. It means there's no time that the soul is away from that absorption in Krishna. And it's just natural for the soul, just like it's natural for the body to breathe air. We don't even think about the breathing process, but it goes on because it's natural, happens automatically. For the soul, The soul is automatically absorbed in Krishna. It's just when we come to the material world, the soul gets covered by the material body, mind, and senses and starts to divert its attention away from Krishna. But in the same time, the soul is still connected with Krishna, but not aware of the connection. And therefore, that is called Maya in that sense. So this is the actual goal of Krishna consciousness. And there's that beautiful verse from the Mahabharata that's mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that all of the rules and regulations in devotional service become subservient to. And what is those two? To always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So these are the two principles: to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And some people think it's difficult to remember Krishna all the time. Well, according to the level of your consciousness that becomes purified. Therefore, we engage in devotional activity. We hear and chant the glories of the Lord. We do things in service of the Lord. We eat only Krishna prasadam, which is Krishna coming in the form of foodstuffs. In other words, we perform all our activities centered around Krishna. And that means that the soul is becoming connected to Krishna directly through the activities. And the awareness actually is starting to manifest it more and more and more as one continues in that absorption. So, and then that is perfection. And then when that absorption becomes fully complete, then one can actually return back to the spiritual world. When Krishna sees you have nothing left in this world and you're absorbed in him only, and you can't live otherwise without being absorbed in him, then taktva deham purna janmani naiti mameti, and then you're back home, back to Godhead. Our problem is we're still trying to enjoy things in this world or take advantage of things in this world. Then we forget Krishna and we put our attention on these things. But there's a formula to connect everything we do with Krishna and understand nothing can happen without the grace of Krishna. No intelligence can be accessed without Krishna's sanction. No activity can be successful without Krishna's sanction. No activity can even be thought of without Krishna's sanction. Krishna actually has his hand in everything, either directly or indirectly through his energies or personally through his presence. So this is the goal. And one who attains that stage has reached the perfection of life. Therefore, there's nothing else to desire, nor does the soul have any other need to desire anything, because all of one's desires are filled perfectly and completely. One reaches the stage of Chit Ananda. That means full knowledge, and happiness that is continuous and ever increasing as the activities towards Krishna continue. So this is the goal, and we try to perform it in this world, and therefore, in order to be successful, we must have a schedule of activities that keeps us connected to Krishna. We should always be in line with a series of activities that we know, well, when I stop this activity, I'm going to be doing something else in relationship to Krishna. When I stop that, I'll do something else. So, and of course, even if the activity is apparently ordinary, say you're traveling in the car, you can still chant the holy names and remember Krishna then. If you're cleaning your room, you can think that this room is, ultimately given to me by Krishna, is actually Krishna's room, and I'm keeping it clean for Krishna, and I think of Krishna while I'm cleaning it. So we have to be very, resourceful in thinking of Krishna always, or somehow connecting with Krishna at every minute. And then you're no longer in this material world. Because the material world means to perform activities in the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the spiritual world means always to be connected with Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada would say, if you are always remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, in any of your activities in devotional service, you'll never reach any impediment. So, so that is the ultimate. And whatever Krishna does is perfect. If he, from our perspective, his perfection may look imperfect because we have expectations on how Krishna should act and should not act. And we usually have our own understanding of what is, and we use it based on modern understanding of what is good and what is bad, or what is moral, what is immoral. But Krishna is beyond that. He can see past, present, and future. And so when he acts in a certain way, and if it seems like he fails to protect someone or doesn't, there's a higher principle that is actually being played out. Sometimes he wants to take a person back to Godhead, and so he uses a material arrangement in order to do that. And that's his protection. So it's not that Krishna is deficient in protecting his devotees or in giving his devotees whatever they need to serve him. From our perspective, we see good and bad, right and wrong, lack and perfection, so many things. But Krishna sees the whole picture. If you're standing on the base of a mountain and you're looking at this gigantic mountain, you can see what's in front of you. You can't see the whole mountain. You can't see the top of the mountain. You can't see the other sides of the mountain. But if you're looking at the mountain from a point above the mountain, then you can see, at least from that perspective, the whole mountain. So Krishna's view of everything is complete and perfect. He sees not only the present, but he also knows the past, and he also sees what will happen in the future. That's why Krishna will do things in your life to change the way you're going in your life, because he knows what will happen in the future if you continue to go in the same direction. And then he sees that's not good for you, so he'll do things to help you decide, but he won't do it for you. He'll give you indications that this is not the right thing by frustrating your attempts to be happy in the material world, or by causing you to lose things or gain things, or in other words, he's giving his messages in different ways through his devotees, through the material energy. He knows that if you continue in the same way you're going, then you will not be Krishna conscious. But therefore but he doesn't force you into that. He helps you through his different energies. Prabhupada said that's something very sacred. Krishna will not interfere with your personal independence. He always allows your independence. He doesn't touch that. Because it's also your nature to be independent. And the basic principle of love is based on choice, not on force. And so he wants you to choose the right thing, and that is him, in a voluntary way. And the process of Krishna consciousness is to attract you more and more to Krishna. That's right. And the name Krishna means all attractive. So Krishna is, by nature, attractive as you connect with him in different ways. Some people are attracted to Krishna by serving Krishna in certain ways. Others are attracted to Krishna by engaging in kirtan. Others are attracted to Krishna by speaking about Krishna. Others are attracted to Krishna by reading about Krishna. So the idea is to get attracted to Krishna. Krishna Mata, Krishna is everything. And if you don't believe it, you'll learn that at the time of death, when the death comes, it takes away everything else that you think is important in your life. And then you're stuck, and you'll get another body to continue your misprogram in this material world, trying uselessly to find happiness and satisfaction in a place that there isn't any. It's like trying to find water in a dry desert. This is the nature of the material world. And that's been proven, and it's also been authorized by Krishna himself. So he does everything to bring us back to him. We have to respond to his ways of bringing us back. That's all. And you can always think of Krishna at any time. That you have that independence. But many times you don't. But that choice is always there. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, for a very thought-provoking class. Definitely, at least it is for me. Would like to ask devotees if any questions, any clarification, please do unmute yourself. I'm going to stop sharing so that we can all see each other. And if you can please turn on your camera, that'd be really, really nice, so we can see each other. Maharaj, you ended by saying that we have a choice, but at the same time, there is some level of independence. And I thought that independence means that, you know, that the choice is always ours. So where is that that fine line, Maharaj? Like that the choice is ours, but at the same time, the Lord is the controller. And at the same time, he doesn't disturb our independence. I think, if I heard you correctly, that is.
I don't see the question in what you just compared.
I'm just trying to understand, Maharaj, is that if we have the choice to, you know, to choose whatever we want, then why is the independence limited? Like, is there a cap?
Well, the independence is limited in two ways. One is more gross and the other one is more subtle. On the gross level, we have a choice between to choose what is material or what is spiritual. That's on the gross level. On a more subtle level is our conditioning forces us to think and act in a certain way. And therefore, we have to get beyond our conditioning by reconditioning ourselves towards Krishna. And so that the process of reconditioning is a process that is unfolding all the time. We're habituated to act and think and do and work in a certain way based in our karma and based in our conditioning. Our conditioning is a result of our karma is a result of our conditioning. But the conditioning, as we try to change our move our karma towards spiritual karma or spiritual activities, our conditioned nature is still there to some degree, and we forget, or we get diverted away. It's just the way it is. So we have to work on it, and that means to just bring in Krishna more and more until your conditioning nature becomes your constitutional position of remembering Krishna. So Prabhupada used to say, Krishna consciousness, just practice. Keep practicing. But if you stop practicing, you're going to start moving back to your old ways again. That's all. It's not that when you stop practicing, nothing happens. No, you're actually going to recondition yourself in the old way as soon as you stop trying to recondition yourself in the spiritual way. You can't stand still. It's not possible.
Thank you, Marge. Thank you. That helped. Thank you so much. Yes, Silpesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept Mahabala obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, you say that Krishna is always guiding us through maybe messages from other devotees or taking away material stuff from us or maybe even giving us something that will help us. But how do we really tune into that? How do we really know it's Krishna and not just our mind thinking that?
Well, Krishna works through the mind. Krishna works through the intelligence. Krishna works through the external energy. Krishna works through different persons in our life. So if we want to be Krishna conscious, then that's what happens. If we want Maya, then Maya's working. What is your desire? If you want to be Krishna conscious and Maya conscious at the same time, then you'll be back and forth, and you won't really make much advancement towards Krishna. You have to stop wanting Maya, 100%. Although you may still have desires to enjoy Maya, you still have to stop acting on those desires. Say no. I know I'm not supposed to go here, but I really want to go here. And I know if I go here, it'll be, I'll just get absorbed in some activity. And you think, oh, it's just a waste of time. I should be chanting Hare Krishna or associating with the devotees, going to a kirtan or something. Or doing something in relationship to Krishna. Every moment you have a choice. It's a moment-to-moment thing. It's not something that is when you actually get to a certain level, just like when you get to the stage of Nishta, then you're fixed in Krishna consciousness. And when you get to the stage of Ruchi, then you're more or less automatically fixed. It becomes more automatic instead of choosing. You just don't want to stop thinking of Krishna because you can't. You've gotten to the stage of practicing to think of Krishna all the time, that just becomes natural. So just keep working on it. Serve Krishna, offer prayers to Krishna, chant his holy name, associate with devotees, eat only Krishna prasadam, and stop doing those things that take you away from Krishna. That doesn't mean you don't take care of your body or you take care of your household affairs, no. But you have to do there's other things in our lives that we just waste time and do things.
Hope that helped, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Marsh, there is a question in the chat, and then I'll go to Sri Devi. And this is from, let me pull the, okay, my thing is up. Okay, Ekta Mataji, yes. Hare Krishna Maharaj, you mentioned we have the choice of independence, which Krishna doesn't interfere with. And of course, we know we have chosen to turn away from Krishna, and that's why we are here in the material world and covered by the modes. So it can seem unfair that right now we have forgotten our real self and only remember or see our conditioned self, and so choosing Krishna can feel very difficult. How can we understand this?
Yeah, you're just too conditioned, that's all. Conditioning is too strong. It's stronger than your attraction from Krishna to Krishna. It's called, habit is second nature. You're habituated to material activities, or habituated to put material activities foremost. So we just have to change the direction in our activities, that's all, and then we'll gradually. And the strength comes from association of devotees. And the facility to succeed is also fortified by association of devotees. The devotees remind you of Krishna, in the association of devotees, you do spiritual activities. If you stay away from the association with devotees, then to do the same thing becomes really difficult. To think of Krishna, perform spiritual activities. You can do it, but there's more of an effort. In the association of devotees, it's natural. In association in the sunshine, you get warm. But when the sunshine is not there and you want some warmth, you have to bring in some outside source to make it happen. So association with devotees and realizing that I have to make an effort. Even if I've been successful in doing nice service and it's been noted in that way, it doesn't really matter. What's important is that we keep our consciousness connected to Krishna all the time. Practice. Keep doing it. So.
Thank you, Maharaj. We'll go to Sri Devi. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Thank you, Ansuya. Dear Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances of the Ishta Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, this topic of remembrance, my apologies for joining late. I'm just picking up on your last few sentences where you said, where we can always think of Krishna. And I am remembering that my recall of Krishna is very intermittent throughout the day. Sometimes I might remember Krishna, it's not always. But whenever I do remember, I'm always asking Krishna for something rather than offering Krishna something. I'm always saying, oh, Krishna, please take me back. Oh, Krishna, please help me to remember your lotus feet, especially at death. I don't want to take birth again. I want to come back to you. So it's always in the mood of begging for something from Krishna. Is that an appropriate way to remember Krishna? Or we should offer something to Krishna in our remembrance?
Well, that's you're habituated to do. That's what you're always asking me, Maharaj, save me from this situation. Maharaj, could critique my class. Maharaj, can you do this for me? Maharaj, I have this project. I need your importance. Maharaj, should I go here? Maharaj, should I do this? Maharaj, I need your opinion. So yeah. So yeah, that's you. The only way I'm going to break you out of it is to tell the world how you are, so you become a little ashamed of your activities and change. Otherwise, if I keep it secret, it won't change. Yeah, why should you? You can ask one thing for Krishna. Please engage me in your service. That's an authorized request, and that's a request that is not only authorized but is needed. Please engage me in your service. Or how can I serve you? Then all your problems will go away. All your questions. How can I, use my time in the right way to become more attached to you? How can I find that association that will bring me closer to you? If you ask about the goal and the things that lead to the goal, that's fine. But Krishna will help you even on these other requests that you ask. He'll give you the intelligence to understand it, but if you're not aware of his coming in your life and giving you the intelligence, then you may miss the opportunity to understand. Krishna is always trying to guide his devotees back to him. And sometimes we ask Krishna, should I do this service or should I do that service? That's okay. But that's more of a question for the spiritual master. But that's even if you ask Krishna, Krishna might direct you to someone who can answer for you in a personal, in a very direct way. Krishna is trying to bring us back to him more than we are making an effort to do that. And he's expert, but we're expert at avoiding his mercy. That's our problem.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. That's a question in the chat, and then I'll come to Namrata. This one, Maharaj, is from Mother Scarlet. Hare Krishna, I have learned from your class lectures that we are part and parcel of Lord Krishna. Does that mean regardless of whichever religion or philosophy we are born or country?
Yeah, that's all external. That's material. Part and parcel means we have the same constitutional nature as Krishna. He's spirit and we're spirit. We're not this body, we're not this mind. We're not female spirit and male spirit. We're not, Indian spirit and American spirit. We're all spirit. There's no material designation that applies to the soul's identity. All these different things that we appear in this world in different bodies, in different places, different cultures, different languages. It's just something that's kind of constantly changing life after life. In the real sense, it has nothing to do with the soul. If you can always remember that you have nothing to do with anything in this world, it's what you connect with and make it important that becomes something that enters into your life in a way. As soon as you detach yourself from that, it's no longer important anymore. But we've been given a certain body. We take care of the body, but we have to understand body's not us, but in order for us to function in the material world, the body has to work. And so we take care of the body, but we're not taking care of ourselves, taking care of the body, which is the place where we live. It's like you take care of your house because you live in that house. But you're not that body, just like you're not that house. You can't say, well, I'm the living room or I'm the kitchen. So when you say I'm a man and I'm a woman, that's what you're saying. I have a man's body, but I'm not a man. I have a woman's body, but I'm not a woman. I have this relationship in this world with these people, but ultimately these are just something that comes by way of living in this world. So we should develop affection for Krishna and Krishna's devotees, and not so much the designated situations that apply just because we have a material body. And there's a nice verse, and maybe you can turn to it. It's in 10th canto, 14th chapter. It's towards the end of the 14th chapter, spoken by Lord Brahma. So I think it's around verse number, I don't know, 55 or something. Go down the page and you can see the different translations here, but it's towards the end of the chapter.
Towards the end, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, wait, go back up a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. O King, for every created being, the dearmost thing is certainly his own self. The dearness of everything else, children, wealth, and so on, is only due to the dearness of the self. For this reason, O best of the king, the body soul is self-centered. He is more attached to his own body and self than his so-called possessions like children, wealth, and home. Indeed, for persons who think the body is the self, or best of the king, those things whose importance lies only in their relationship to the body are never as dear as the body are never as dear as the body itself. If a person comes to the stage of considering the body mine instead of me, he will certainly not consider the body as dear as his own self. After all, even if the body is growing old and useless, one's desire to continue living remains strong. Therefore, in his own self that is most dear to every embodied living being, and it's simply for the satisfaction of the self that the whole material creation of moving and non-moving entities exists. So the self is you, and the body becomes dear to you. And when the body becomes dear to you, all of these other things that are connected to the body become dear. But if the body is not so dear to you, neither are those things that are in relationship to the body. Okay, that's so that you can read that whole section there. It gives you a little understanding that without the body, there is no question of family, friends, relatives, country, society. None of these things exist. But more dear than the body is the self, although we're not aware of it.
Thank you, Maharaj. We'll go to Namrata and then Rajesh. So go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question is a little follow-up of what Shilpesh Prabhu asked and what Shridevi Mataji was discussing. So, being a neophyte on on the karma mishrit level and practicing bhakti as well, sometimes you try to ask yourself or what Krishna wants from you, and then sometimes you end up overthinking. So how can we make the difference that especially if I give you an example, I was supposed to go on GV with a group last Sunday, but I really got sick with high fever, couldn't go there. So I was just thinking, why did Krishna not allow me? So sometimes we think this type of questions. So how can we discriminate that what Krishna wants from me, or we are overthinking?
No, you have to play by the laws of material nature. If you contact some disease, you're going to get a fever. Don't blame it on Krishna. There's laws on how to live in this world. And you have to follow that. So if you get sick, it has nothing to do with him. It's just that the material world is like that. If you wanted to go, then you had to make sure you were ready to go by not getting sick. You can't say that Krishna didn't want me to go. but you put yourself in a situation where you couldn't go. That's your doing. That's not his doing.
Okay. I think then somewhere I had this free will. Actually, the weather is very bad here, Guru Maharaj. No sunlight from many days. Many people are catching diseases and flu and all this. So, and I was so desiring to go to GV and I couldn't go. So
Yeah.
I was just thinking.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. All I can say is that's the material world. But if you're standing on the side of a sidewalk and you have to cross the street, you're going to say, well, Krishna wants me to live longer, and I'll just walk across the street without looking. It's like stupid. Krishna will tell you to look. So, the material world is what it is. It's just, there's laws in this material world. There's dangers all around it, and you have to use your intelligence to stay away from getting trapped by the material energy. Krishna will help you if you make an effort, but if you don't make an effort, then you allow the material energy to work on, then you're going to be victimized.
Thank you, Maharaj. I think that answers the questions. Thank you very much.
There's even a more subtler point that Krishna might have told you how to avoid getting the fever, but you didn't listen. For instance, there's the story where the man, he's in a village. A simple man, he lives in the village, he has a little cottage there. And so it starts raining, and it's raining hard, and the water's rising. So the water's rising, and so he climbs up on a higher place in his house. And his friend comes along with a boat and says, "Come on, get in the boat." He says, "No, I'm not going to get in because I only take help from God, no one else." So then the water keeps rising, so he's on top of the house now, and they come in a helicopter to get him, and he says, "No, I only take help from God." And so the helicopter leaves, and then it keeps rising, and then he drowns. And then the story goes on to now he's there, and he says to the Lord after he dies, "Well, why didn't you save me?" He said, "I did. I sent a boat, I sent a helicopter." He was thinking Krishna has to come personally, but he comes through his energies to help us.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Need to sharpen the intelligence. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
I hope you get well. You sound like you're still afflicted there a little.
Yes, throat is bad, Guru Maharaj.
Use a tongue scraper and just kind of like go in there and kind of scrape out. And usually a lot of that stuff just comes out if you can scrape it out. It will clear your throat. I usually do that when I get some congestion, just use a tongue scraper. Or you can get some medicine that works like that to help.
So I'm doing salt water gargling, Guru Maharaj. Salt water gargling usually works for me.
Okay, if it's working, it's working.
Thank you. I'll try scraping too. Thank you.
I didn't know Bombay was so bad. Oh, I guess this is the rainy season now, huh?
Yes, it rained very heavily in last few days, no sunlight, and a lot of cases of flu and conjunctivitis. And
That's really dangerous too. When the water starts rising, it catches all of these dirty places, and then people get dysentery and all kinds of diseases from polluted water that's all around.
Yes.
Yeah. So just, take care of yourself.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, health is wealth.
Thank you, Namrata. You can go ahead, Rajesh Prabhu.
Thanks, Anasuya Mataji. I had a question similar to yours at the start, but between you and Maharaj, you kind of answered it really nicely. So I'm just reflecting on that more. But Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna everyone. Maharaj, in today's morning class, I didn't make it in person because I lost something. So I'm going to reflect upon the point you made a little bit earlier about, if you kind of lose stuff or you can't find stuff, then you've got to think about what the message is or what Krishna's telling you. So I'm going to think about that a little bit more. But something you said in the morning class, Maharaj, about doubts being like demons, and you sort of really nicely explained the Varnashram system and how important it is. In the back of my mind, I've always wondered why, probably my own misunderstanding, but in the past, when Krishna allowed for the Yadu dynasty to fall, and when Parashuram came and sort of defeated the kings who had lost their way, in terms of being Shastric, those sort of examples make me think that the Varnashram system wasn't working at that time, or Krishna wanted changes in that. I don't know if that's the right conclusion, but is it that the Varnashram system is always required, but just at times it needs rebooting?
Even if you're working in the Varnashram system, doesn't mean you can't go off. The Varnashram is material. Still, you can go off. It's just a matter of how you perform your activities in this world. And when you connect the activities in devotional service, that's Daivi Varnashram, spiritual Varnashram. So the kings were following Varnashram. They were kings, they were Kshatriyas, but they got proud. They were misusing their position, that's right. So they were fallen from their position, but they were still in their position, just like Brahma Bandhu. That means a Brahmana who's born in a Brahmin family, but is acting like something else.
Maharaj, just a quick follow-on, just if I can help my understanding. So, you explained morning class that Brahminical, awesome and Brahminical personalities are required, to sort of have like a college type way of teaching.
Daivi Varnashram we're talking about, not just Varnashram. There's at least 4 kinds of Varnashram. There's material Varnashram. There is, what is the other one? What are the different kinds of Varnashrams? And there's perverted Varnashram. Different kinds of Varnashrams. But Prabhupada wanted Daivi Varnashram. Daivi means spiritual. That's what it means. You serve Krishna according to your natural swadharma, your material propensity. You're a Kshatriya, so you're serving the Lord as a Kshatriya. You're a Brahmin, you're serving the Lord as a Brahmin. That's Daivi Varnashram. Service to the Lord makes the activity successful. Not just material Varnashram, where you work as a Brahmin and you just do pujas and you make a living based on Brahminical activities. No. Daivi Varnashram. That has to be clarified because Prabhupada didn't just push Varnashram, he wanted Daivi Varnashram.
Maharaj, the divine Varnashram, is that we should always have this? Is it, it should be?
Well, that's what Prabhupada wanted to establish, Daivi Varnashram. People working according to their nature and serving the Lord in that way. service to the Lord is the Daivi part. The Varna is your material tendencies. Chaturvarni Mahasrista Guna Karma Vibhaga Saha. Krishna says, I've created these four types of people. That's material.
Thanks, Maharaj.
Thank you, Rajesh Prabhu. There's a question in the chat, Marsh, from Radha Bhakti. How do we know if our activities are pleasing to Krishna?
Well, Prabhupada, you answered that question the same way. He says, when you're satisfied, when Krishna is satisfied, you also become satisfied. When you're pleased, if Krishna is pleased, then you'll be pleased. He said, because you're part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, when you connect with Krishna in devotional service and you please him, you automatically feel pleasant. You're satisfied and pleased in that activity. You feel a sense of dissatisfaction, that means maybe you didn't please Krishna. That's the way Prabhupada answered that question. He never gave another answer. And he was asked that question a few times. You're part and parcel of Krishna. If you please Krishna, you'll be pleased. I don't have any other answer I can give you other than what Prabhupada has told us. And it's a fact.
Thank you, Maharaj. Raj Prabhu, please go ahead with the question, Prabhu.
And let me add one thing to that. There is two principles, things that are favorable for devotional service and things that are unfavorable. So we should be very diligent to make sure we follow these principles, what is favorable and what is not favorable. If you follow the favorable ones, then it's a very good chance that you'll please Krishna. It doesn't mean you will, but at least you're in the right arena to please Krishna. You can't do things that are unfavorable and expect to please Krishna. But at least in the arena of things that are favorable, then you have to add that desire to please Krishna with the activity. What is favorable, what is unfavorable. It's favorable to chant Hare Krishna, and it's unfavorable to chant Hare Krishna and text in your phone at the same time.
Thank you, Maharaj. Raj, you can go ahead, Prabhu. Raj, somehow we can't hear you. Oh, wait, now you can. Go ahead. Now we can.
Raj, we have desires, and through practice of bhakti, we see slowly material desires get replaced by spiritual desires. But does the soul also have desires?
The soul has spiritual desires because it's spiritual. But the mind interferes with that, and then our desires become material. So the mind blocks. The mind is the blocking force which connects, which is the means by which we connect to the activity, or being blocked by the activity by the nature of the mind. The mind interferes with that. So the mind wants to do something, and the soul would like to serve Krishna, but the soul doesn't get a chance because it works through the mind, and the mind is in charge, the mind and the intelligence. So therefore, you have to purify the intelligence by understanding how to serve Krishna nicely and act in that way, and using your intelligence on how to do that. Intelligence is the feature of the soul's existence. Intelligence is the super soul inside of the body of the living entity, which is directing the living entity towards Krishna. So connecting with the super soul means connecting with the intelligence. because this intelligence cannot work independent of some force behind it. And that force is the super soul.
We're more deep in the moments that we're more deeply connected.
I didn't catch that. You broke up on this.
So when we are more connected to Krishna in those moments, then there's less covering and or suppression of the soul's real desire.
Yeah, the soul is becoming free from the encumbrances that block our relation. In other words, the mind is connecting us to Krishna through the intelligence. If you read the activities of the mind, the Bhagavatam is full of verses about the mind. The mind is the best of friends, the worst enemy. One should elevate themselves by the mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, his enemy is one. One who controls the mind is the best of friends. One who fails to do so, this very mind is his enemy. When the mind is fully controlled, the super soul is automatically reached. Happiness and distress, honor and dishonor, heat and cold appear all the same. When one captures the mind and controls the mind, one should watch the mind just as one controls captures a wild horse and makes sure that it's tied up so it doesn't run away again. One should direct the mind towards Krishna and not away from Krishna by slowly connecting the activities of devotional service according to the instructions of the spiritual master. So you can be controlled by the mind or you can control the mind. It's up to you.
And does the soul have any feeling of like being trapped in the body or
The soul is
unhappiness?
completely sentient. The soul has everything. In fact, the body has nothing. The soul, everything that you're experiencing is coming from the soul. But when it comes through the material body, it becomes a material activity, that's all. The material body is a fake, it's dead. There's nothing there. It's just matter. It becomes activated by the presence of the soul. The material mind is a covering over the spiritual mind. The material mind is your conditioned mind, that's all. And that's conditioned by your desires, that's all. As you remove the desires, you remove the coverings that are covering the soul, that's all. The body's dead, just matter. Everything's happening by way of the presence of the soul. But the soul is being dragged by the conditioned mind due to the desires to enjoy this material world. Just stop desiring material things and start desiring spiritual things, and then gradually you become aware of your spiritual existence.
Thank you, Maharaj.
You see what the eyes don't see. Do the eyes see? I'm asking you, do the eyes see?
Our mind thinks that our eyes see.
No, the eyes are the instrument for seeing. You're seeing. You're just using the instrument for seeing. You, the soul, is using the eyes to see. But the soul, the eyes can't see. They're just instruments, just like a pair of glasses. The glasses don't have any life, but they give a highlight to the image that the eyes are trying to see. But the eyes cannot see. It's coming from the soul itself. You can have nice eyes, but if there's nobody there, who cares? You know, what are you going to do? You can't see anything. You hear through the ears, you see through the eyes. You walk with the help of the legs. You defend yourself with the help of the arms. You are doing and experiencing, but it's coming through the material body, which has different functions according to the different organs in the body. That's all. But it's you. But because we're so absorbed in the body, we can't see a distinction between ourselves and the body. They have to get away from that absorption, at least come a little bit aware that it's me that's doing everything, and then everything happening around me is coming through the material energy and my material body. That's all.
That must be why we feel more energized when we have spiritual association, and why we feel more at peace and happy when we're doing something devotional rather than feeling stressed when we're doing something material.
Soul doesn't get stressed.
So the soul doesn't have all of the feelings that we have.
If you just use the image of a car, you can figure it out. Use that same analogy, the car. You're the you're the driver in the car, and the car is doing everything, getting you where you go. It's turning this way and that way. Lights are going on and off. Your GPS is showing you how to get there. Yeah, your intelligence is showing you how to get to where you want to go. That's the GPS. The lights are your eyes. Your legs are the wheels. You're like, again, your body's a car. That's all it is.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay, don't park your car. Keep it running.
Maharaj.
Don't worry, it has unlimited fuel. And if you run out of fuel, just take prasad. Don't worry.
Thank you, Raj Prabhu. Marge, I missed a question in the chat. Thank you, Shri Devi, for pointing it out. This is from Nuria. She said, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, I was asking yesterday a question on Vaishnava path background. I guess it is Samkhya. I'm trying to understand what she's trying to say here. So if others can help me, that would be great. I guess it is Samkhya and others, and is in our preeminent Shiksha or Diksha in the Parampara. Thank you. I'm not getting the question. Probably Sri Devi, you can help me understand the question better, or the comment better.
She did ask a question yesterday about Shiksha and Diksha in our Parampara, and Guru Maharaj answered that question. So even I'm not able to understand what it is she's asking. Maybe she can write something in the chat to clarify.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you just tell her to clarify?
You see, her English is a little, she's very intelligent and she knows how to phrase things, but she doesn't know how to use the English language in a way that is clear. She thinks in terms of concepts rather than in terms of, thoughts. She's a more conceptual thinker. That's her question is more conceptual. You have to break it down and try to understand what she's trying to say.
It appears to be a comment, but I didn't want to assume that. So that's why I was trying to really.
I didn't catch the question. If you could read it very slowly, maybe.
Yes, Maharaj, I can do that. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, I was asking yesterday a question on Vaishnava path background. I guess it is Samkhya and others, and is in out preeminent Shiksha or Diksha in the Parampara.
It's pretty much preeminent shiksha. Though we say that our Gaudiya Vaishnava line is mostly shiksha. And Sankhya means to count. So if you compare, I think we have 32 that is given in the line there, maybe 33 or 34. How many are actually shiksha and how many are actually diksha? So, and we're mostly a shiksha line.
Marge, now that you are answering it, I'm seeing the point that you said about the question, the question that she was asking Diksha or Shiksha. Yes, now it's slowly making sense to me.
Yeah, she's asking about our Vaishnav line.
Yeah, if it's Diksha or Shiksha, that's what, okay, got it. Thank you, Marge.
It's both, but it's prominently shiksha.
Shiksha. I think I missed one more question here now that okay, this is by Mother Scarlett. She said, does that mean if one feel and know that there is risks to attend in some activities, regardless what the activity is, better to listen to what one feels?
Feeling, you can't always trust your feelings. Better to get some advice instead of trusting your feelings. Feelings can cheat you, and feelings could be based on fulfilling a particular material desire also. We act on intelligence and not on feeling. If they line up, fine. If they don't, then it's intelligence that takes the prominent position. Jiva Goswami explains that the soul's connection to the Supreme is through intelligence. Okay, I have to move on because I have to leave soon. I think my ride is just coming up right now. Yes, my ride just appeared just now.
Thank you, Marge, for actually giving your time till the very end of when you have to leave. And thank you for your patience and your tolerance and bearing with our questions. And we thank all the devotees for asking such amazing, thought-provoking, deep questions. And we hope you all have a wonderful day. Vanchakaptibhyascha kripasindobevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki
Jai.
jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you, Guru
Krishna.
Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Anasuya.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Now you have to help me. My secret is out. So now everybody has to help me.
That is a BT Swami thing that he just did. He pulled a BT Swami thing on you. It's very uncomfortable, by the way. But I know that feeling. We'll help each other.
I'd rather get blasted and chastised and humiliated now rather than be blasted back to the material world at the time of death.
Oh my God, that is such a good point. So true, Prabhu. So true. Absolutely. Yeah. Amazing. But yeah, thank you. That was a really powerful. I think that was mercy. That was really a powerful mercy.
It's always mercy.
Yeah.
It's always mercy. If we
Loving
can-
exchange too is there, by the way, in my humble opinion. There's definitely a loving exchange in my humble opinion.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Did you hear what happened when he came last year, Mama? Not this year, but last year. He came and he had a program in Reading, which is like an hour from where Harrisburg is. And we were going to go, me and my husband, and halfway through, it rained like cats and dogs. I'm not joking. It rained so much. We had no visibility at all. So what happened was we turned around and we told Maharaj, we called him and told him he was staying at the devotee's house. And there were, we literally, you won't, but this is so creepy. You're going to get goosebumps. We saw 5 or 6 accidents on the way. So we turned around because we couldn't see. It was really, really bad. So when we turned around, what happened was we called and told Maharaj and said, Maharaj, it's, no, we called a devotee and we said, it's raining. And Maharaj said, give me the phone. And he took the phone and says, I want you and Prashit to turn around and come back. He says, I'm here because of you, not for anyone else. So you're going to turn around. Krishna will stop the rain. Sri Devi, you will not believe this. The rain stopped and all the accidents were not on the road. And I told my husband, where is the accident? I saw cops. I saw ambulance. They were all gone. I'm not joking. So when I got to the devotee's house, he didn't start the class. He waited till me and Prakshit got there. He was like 1 hour late. When we got there, all the devotees were telling me that the loving chastisement we got from March was such a living exchange, the devotees were writing it in their notebook like a Chaitanya Charitamrita or something. It was hilarious. So what I saw between you and March was a loving exchange, Prabhu. You're very blessed.
Yeah, I really am blessed. There's no doubts about that. I wish I could improve and come up to standard. So for that, I need everyone's prayers.
We will pray for each other, Prabhu. We'll pray for each other.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hari Hari Bol.